Hey guys, so as we said at the beginning of the show, today we're going to be sharing a little bit about some COVID-19 tips that we should be ensuring that we are maintaining. And to do that, we have a very special guest, General Practitioner Dr. Mario Guthrie. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the set.
Yeah, man,
very first time.
I know, first time on the Mega set.
I don't know why.
I don't understand.
Why?
Make it happen again.
Yes. So there has been a spike in the cases.
Absolutely.
A sharp spike, I should say. You know, understandably, a lot of persons are concerned. So we thought it would be important today to kind of share with our viewers. We'll remind ourselves of the COVID-19 tips, the sanitization, the social distancing that we should be practicing. But in addition to that, we want to share some factual information. And of course, you're the expert in that area. So one thing I've noticed is that we've had more asymptomatic patients. And that leads me to think, are there typical versus atypical symptoms that we should be looking out for?
Well, I don't want to say that there's more asymptomatic patients, but there's a spectrum.
Okay.
And asymptomatic is on the left end of the spectrum, and then severe illness is on the right end of the spectrum.
Okay.
But your typical symptoms would be your fever, your dry cough. And the thing about viruses, they tend to present similarly with a lot of things. So you have a wide range of stuff like headache, sore throat, which may be more common. But there are some atypical symptoms that have been presenting with COVID-19 virus, such as loss of smell, loss of taste. We've even been seeing a bit of diarrhea as well. But again, not unique to viruses. Viruses do this.
Right.
But yeah, loss of smell and loss of taste for me would be something to clue you in.
Say, okay, maybe
I should get tested, possibly. Fatigue as well, it's common.
Or I don't know how to term it in a Jamaican way, to say you just feel bad.
Body
what would you call malaise?
No, let me say body
feel away.
Feel away.
Feel mash up.
Feel mash up. Feel tired.
More
pop down.
tired than usual. Pop down.
Pop down would be probably the best term. Yeah.
Out of nowhere, you start feeling pop down.
And I would say it is, as you say, out of nowhere, not your typical feeling of energy, not normal energy levels.
Yeah.
But again, it's still hard to use that to send someone in to be tested. I'm sure if you call the hotline, they might think that might be, they might tell you to watch it.
There are some lead-up questions then, or some follow-up questions that the doctor would ask you to kind of see and put a whole picture together to decide whether or not you should get tested.
Like whether you were in contact with someone who was COVID positive, whether they had recent travel. And remember also, 80% of people do recover. So most people are well.
So there is a good recovery rate.
There is a good recovery rate. So most people will be at home, self-quarantining and watching themselves and ensuring that all is well before they come back out again. All
right, so we just wanted to also touch on the topic of self-monitoring, because the Ministry of Health and Wellness has been encouraging that a lot. And that is probably one of the best ways to identify whether or not you are symptomatic or should get tested.
It's very important, and we can look at it in two different ways. I would say let's look at it as the person who does not have COVID-19. Okay. Maybe you going about your regular day. I think you just need to have a very good awareness of self, so that if you develop a fever, you kind of know what your body feels like when you have a fever. Maybe you get some chills, or you feel cold, or you feel very hot.
Okay.
So just self-awareness. But I would say the next important thing to do is purchase a thermometer.
I was about to say that because the weather has been fluctuating a lot lately. So maybe we feel hot this moment and we say, Lord, it's so humid today.
And you know, we love to just diagnose fever, but the only way to truly know if you have a fever is to check it.
Okay.
And fever,
so for those who don't know, what is your average body temperature?
Well, normal, let me tell you
what
I'm going to tell you what fever is. And fever is 38 degrees Celsius or 100.4 Fahrenheit. So those are equivalent.
So 38 degrees Celsius if your thermometer is in Celsius.
And 100.4 in Fahrenheit.
In Fahrenheit.
So you don't want to be above that. And then just below that would be like a low-grade fever.
Okay.
So when the security guards are checking you, that's really what they're looking for. And a lot of the devices do change color from green to yellow to red. To alert you, to let you know that the fever is out of range.
But what I've noticed too is a lot of persons, they just listen for the beep, sanitize their hands and they walk off. But I'm usually interested to know.
You're like, what's my temperature?
What's my temperature? You know?
It's good to know, because that's your way of also self-monitoring if you don't have a thermometer, because everybody's checking you everywhere.
Okay, so those are the markers that you're looking for.
Those are the markers.
A temperature above 38. Or 38
for
and
fever,
above.
for fever in Celsius, right? If you have your own thermometer, then what you can do is check it I mean, I don't want it to get overboard.
Periodically.
Periodically. If you're in quarantine, though, or 14 in quarantine, you should be checking your temperature daily.
Okay.
And that's to see if you develop, and making a log of it, like a symptom diary almost.
Okay.
And that's just to see if you do, in fact, start to develop symptoms. Because that's what the 14-day period really is.
Right.
For you to see if you start to become symptomatic.
Okay.
So in that case, now you would log your temperature and you would log your symptoms. Feeling well, or fever, body aches, diarrhea, loss of smell, whatever happens.
Okay.
So there's the diary, there's the temperature, and the general self-awareness.
Okay.
And I bring up the self-awareness because if you have allergies, for instance, or seasonal allergies, you might sneeze when you smell perfume or cologne. So you might know that is your allergies acting up versus COVID.
Or you've been around a pet. Or dust.
Or rain.
Or changing the temperature, from rain. Okay.
So I don't want that person to run in to say that they need to be tested.
So self-aware just means that you should know what your normal is.
Know your normal.
Okay.
You should do medicine, you know? You're so good at this.
Maybe.
Next job.
About it. Alright, so the next thing we wanted to talk about is I've seen lately a call for more persons to work from home. So human resource managers now are looking at their list to see, well, we started originally, but a lot of persons went back to work.
Went back out, and then now we're kind of moving back to that.
But then the term essential has become more prevalent, right? So for workers who are essential, the place are going to pack down if you're not dead it. What should you keep in mind?
Standard protocol, sanitization, masks. But what I like to tell people, to decrease their interaction with people, they should do little cool things. If you don't want to go into a restaurant, meal prep. Okay. Bring some food with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's healthier anyway.
It's healthier anyway.
And it's
you save money and you're probably having some, you know what I mean? It's a rough time now. So meal prep, it really is truly difficult for people who have to come out.
Okay.
And if you have to take public transport, again, keep your mask on at all times, wear it properly, and try and maintain as much distance as you can. Hard to do in a taxi or a bus.
It is.
Maybe if you can get someone to drop you, or you can get a ride if you're not driving, then that might be good to do. So some of it is tricky to do.
It is.
But you just have to do the best you can.
Right? And also, when you get home, to kind of ensure that you take off all of that before you...
I love that you brought that up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you reminded me. But especially if you have people at home who may have other underlying conditions, or they're elderly, you want to try and get out of that clothes, put it to the wash, go and take a shower.
So maybe at home, close to the veranda,
have a little
station,
like a clothes bin that you move quickly to,
and you take those things off there.
Right.
Maybe try to wash your hand or sanitize before you get in, and definitely leave the shoes out there.
Leave the shoes out there. Go and take a shower. Come back.
Before you start mingling.
And I mean, some people might think some of this is overboard, but again, you just don't know. So you just take all the
and you want to protect the persons that you love, right?
Absolutely.
But I think maybe my favorite tip was to try to meal prep.
You like the meal prep tip?
And
that's good for the workout.
Yeah, you lose some weight, you're building a immune system, you're saving some money, and you're saving yourself some time. So you use up the whole hour to eat and relax and get your mind right.
And you decrease your contact with people.
With other persons. Awesome. As you said that if you've come in contact with somebody who has tested positive or may have been COVID-19 positive, we have a lot of persons who may be returning home, right? And based on the situation, they have to quarantine in the family home.
Right.
Are there any tips that we can share with viewers?
Well, coming into contact with somebody who is COVID positive is actually one of the criteria to quarantine or to be tested.
Okay.
So I like to break this down in an interesting way. Jamaica is very diverse. You may have a big house where you have a west wing and an east wing. If you have a big house and you can send somebody go over the west wing, then you should probably have a setup where someone can stay in proper isolation away from the rest of the family.
Right.
But we know that's not the situation in Jamaica.
In most places.
Many places where people are in close confines. It really forces everyone to quarantine.
It's rough.
It's rough. Because the potential of them possibly contracting the virus is higher. Because it's difficult to maintain the distance. But you just have to do the best you can. You may have to wear a mask in the house. The person who is infected should wear a mask to prevent spread. You can wear your mask to prevent yourself from getting the illness. Wash hands, sanitization, keep special things for them to use on their own.
So for example, utensils. Maybe set aside a special cup, plate, utensils for them.
That they can buy from MegaMart.
Nice plug.
I always wanted to say that. So, they would have their own utensils.
Okay.
If it's possible for them to have their own restroom that they use, they can.
That is a good point.
If you have a room that is connected to its own restroom. And then again, the sanitization around those things, the clothing, the linen, just has to be tight.
Okay, so you'd be washing those sheets separately. Maybe in some warm water, hot water.
Well, to be honest, soap and water is good. So when we wash hands, we get rid of the virus.
Okay, so it doesn't
the temperature is not
warm.
terribly important, but definitely keeping things separate to prevent contact with other people.
What about when you're shopping? Are there any special tips that you should keep in mind?
And you talking about shopping like in terms of just buying?
Going to the supermarket, going on the road to get stuff at the pharmacy. Is there anything that you should keep in mind?
I'll be honest, I'm not super paranoid about over-sanitizing, but it doesn't hurt to. So from the perspective of buying things and bringing them home, it doesn't hurt to clean them off and wash them off and sanitize them to ensure that there may not be virus on the things that
like
you're
your fruits
home.
and vegetables?
Right,
maybe?
But I mean, I don't go overboard personally, but it doesn't hurt.
Are there any special tips that you want to share with the viewers?
I want viewers to continue to maintain the protocols that have been provided, and that is to wear your mask at all times and wear it correctly, please. Please wear it over your nose and your mouth.
Hanging
either under your chin, under your
forehead.
forehead.
My personal favorite.
I mean, the masks are like fashion statements now, but they need to be worn correctly. They need to be kept clean. You need to not touch the front of it when you're removing it. I encourage people to have their own sanitization kit. Have a Ziploc bag which has your own sanitizer, alcohol inside of it.
Maybe a backup mask.
Backup mask. Because the truth is, you may not be able to control your circumstance. You may have allergies to some of the things that people spraying at the different. So you should have your own. And maintain mental sanity. It's a difficult time now.
I think that is probably one of the most important ones.
Trust me, being at home earlier, not being able to go out, not being able to see friends, possibly family for extended periods of time, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So find outlets, WhatsApp, video, FaceTime, just make it work. Find ways to stay connected.
One of the other things I would say is don't look for factual information.
Look for factual information.
Don't take in everything that you see everywhere, because people are just free. Them just type whatever them feel like typing.
Go to the CDC, the WHO, and to your local ministry, which would be the Ministry of Health.
Or get factual information
from a doctor, from a professional. So I agree with you, and be careful of the information overload.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming. Before you go, can we just quickly share with our viewers where they can find you?
Yeah, man, sure. Well, thank you for having me. And they can find me on social media at Dr Mario Guthrie, and that's DrMario Guthrie. And Dr. Guthrie, drmarioguthrie.com is my website. I'm at 1 Eastwood Avenue, and I see patients of all ages.
Of all ages?
Yeah, man, I'm a general practitioner. I see the kids to the adults.
And if they don't want to come into the practice, can they see you online?
They can see me online, and they can find me through the website. You can actually do a telemed appointment. I'm also on MD Link as well. So we're moving with the times.
Moving with the times. Awesome. It was an absolute pleasure. Some good tips too. Yeah, you're definitely coming back. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.